Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl seem super exciting. So today I'm bringing in two people, not just one, to join me in a discussion on both games. Today I am joined by Cayla from Cayla's Capsule.
Hello, I'm Cayla from Cayla's Capsule. I make videos about Pokemon and Animal Crossing and all sorts of things, so I am super excited to talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl today.
Awesome, Cayla. It's great to have you here as always. And we also are joined by Veteran X Gaming.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is VetX from Veteran-X Gaming on YouTube. I talk about Pokemon and all kinds of other video games, RPGs. I love all that good stuff. I'm glad to be here to talk about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and most importantly, Pokemon Legends Arceus. I cannot wait to dive into this with y'all. Let's get it.
Vet, you haven't really talked much about Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, have you?
No, I really haven't. I was mainly more focused on like Pokemon Legends Arceus. Yeah, I haven't really spoken BDSP too much.
I can't blame you. Obviously, Legend is the more eventful game out of the two. And you're a Temtuber mostly, aren't you? Don't you mostly deal with Temtem?
Yeah, so Temtem, for those who don't know, they're heavily inspired by Pokemon, and it's an MMO. And right now it's in the early access, and I love it because it has so many elements of Pokemon. It just has more difficulty to it. And as far as BDSP goes, it looks really good. I've been wanting a little bit more from it. I want to be as honest as possible about the game from my point of view. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they feel like they took the base games and they've added a lot more content to it. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, with all the legendaries and the events. Omega
there
Ruby.
was like a whole bunch more. There was like a ton of lore that was added, but this, it just seems like it's gonna be mostly the same.
I totally agree. And oh my goodness, and with the mystery gifts that you could get in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, the Giovanni episode, they really packed so much content into that. And you know, with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I didn't like they didn't have Battle Frontier, but the Delta episode was very great. I really liked that. You know, and it felt like Game Freak really added more content to the base games, and they felt like literal remakes rather than just a remaster.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, Heart Gold Soul Silver is my favorite Pokemon game of all time, or mainline Pokemon game of all time so far. So
I can agree.
Yeah, I'm right there with you and missing that one. What about you, Cayla? What's your favorite Pokemon game so far?
Pokemon Crystal for sure.
Hey! Wait, wasn't that both of our first ones?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I played it so much. It was the first one you could play as a girl, and I was just so excited.
Yeah, that was my first Pokemon game. That was yours too, right, Cayla?
No, I played Pokemon Blue and Yellow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind. Crystal was my first.
Okay, we got an old person in the house.
Hey, I started with Red on the Game Boy Color.
Yay!
Y'all old.
High five. Let's be old together.
You guys are old.
Yep.
I say that, but I bet you half the audience right now is like, my first one was Diamond and Pearl. Black and white, X and Y. If someone hears first Pokemon game was X and Y, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
They're out there, man. Oh man, that is hilarious.
That's so weird to think that like someone actually was like born when Pokemon X and Y was coming out, and they're watching my videos, and I'm sitting here like sounding like a Zoomer.
Back in my day.
Yeah, right.
We had just gotten females in video games back in my day.
Back then, we didn't have Wi-Fi.
Back then, we didn't have females.
There was a thing called a link cable.
Oh my goodness, I never had one. I also didn't have friends, so it's not like it mattered. But I didn't have a link cable or friends.
I mostly use the link cable to trade with myself, not gonna lie.
No.
Man, because I have a story from Red, because I wanted an Alakazam for the longest, so I thought I had to get Kadabra up to like level 60. So he was a powerhouse. At one point, he eventually was able to like almost one-shot the Elite Four, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get an Alakazam soon, please. And my cousin, he had one of those the journals that had like all the Pokemon in them and how to get them. He said, yeah, you need a link cable. And I said, a link cable? What's that? He said, you see that port right there on your Game Boy? And I looked at it. I never noticed it until he pointed it out to me. He said, yeah, you put a link cable in there and you trade your Kadabra for the Alakazam. And I almost wanted to cry because I spent like a whole week trying to grind out that Kadabra into an Alakazam, and
Yep.
I was never going to get it because I didn't have a link cable till like a year later, and by then I was already playing what was it? Silver and
Yep.
gold by that point. So
Wow.
it was like, it is what it is. And
Yeah.
I didn't bother trading them to the next generation. I just left them there.
I remember when I found out about the link cable, I was mind blown. I was like, something like this exists? That's crazy. Technology is out of
man.
this world.
I swear, man. I swear.
Oh
and
my
then Gen
goodness.
3, they had those things you could plug in to like wirelessly connect.
The wireless
Yes.
adapters.
Oh, that was the start of something great, honestly.
Yeah, I love the
Whoa,
wireless
there's
adapters.
no wires. What is this? This is
I was-
magic. This
I
is
was
magic.
only able to ever use those to trade with myself because, like I said, I didn't have any friends.
Oh, that's all good, man. As long as you was able to help complete the Pokédex.
It's all good now because I have friends now. No, I've never completed a
Yeah.
Pokedex in a game.
Oh, man.
Never.
Haven't either.
You need friends for that.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep.
Who has those
Yeah.
anymore?
What is that? Can you buy them?
Can you buy
Well,
them?
You kind of can.
You can, in a
Some-
way.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
now
yeah.
let's go ahead and get into our questions we're going to be asking each other today.
All right.
And what we're going to do is I'm going to ask some questions and we're all going to answer them. So the first one that I have is who will be your starters? And we're going to talk about both games. So let's start with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and then tell me who your starter is going to be in Pokemon Legends right after. So let's start with you, Cayla. Who are your starters going to be in both games?
So for BDSP, I think I'm gonna start with Piplup.
Yes,
because-
as you should. Okay, sorry.
So in the originals, I've started with all three in the past, and like I'm at a point like in the original games where I would usually start with Chimchar because the availability of fire type Pokemon was so bad in like Diamond and Pearl, like the originals. Like you could get Ponyta and Chimchar, and that was it for like most of the game. But since we have this whole new underground feature going on, like we're gonna be able to get other fire types much more easily. So I'm like, I'm starting with Piplup. I haven't started with Piplup in a very long time. So I'm like, all right, gotta do that.
I have a quick question for you, Cayla.
Yeah.
Do you know how early on in the game we can go to the underground? Because I'm scared that it's going to be too late by then.
Oh, I hope it's early enough because we've seen some like Pokemon that seem like they're like, you know, like Munchlax is down there and stuff.
Yeah,
so-
yeah, they're like obviously making up for the flaws, but how early did we get to access the underground in the originals? Do you know?
Gosh, I don't remember. I feel like it had to have been not too
Fifth
late.
badge?
The fifth badge?
Was it earlier than that?
no!
Nobody's starting with Piplup now. It's so sad.
Oh boy.
Oh, what a
Don't quote
game.
me on that. Let me Google this.
And hopefully we can access it pretty early because like the variability of Pokemon was one of the like flaws of Diamond and Pearl. And so the whole underground part kind of fixes that. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
hope we can access that early enough because
All right, well, before VODCAST comes back with the info on that, let's talk about who you want in your Pokemon Legends as your Pokemon Legends starter.
So for Pokemon Legends, for my first playthroughs of the games, I mostly started with the starters that they have on there, except for Cyndaquil. I have never started a playthrough. Like I've done like second playthroughs of games with Cyndaquil, but I've never started a playthrough with a Cyndaquil like as like the first time playing the game. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna give Gen 2 some love. I'm gonna start with Cyndaquil for Legends Arceus.
Oh, wow. The blasphemy of not starting with Cyndaquil in Gen 2.
No, I started with Totodile. I loved it in the
Right,
anime
Totodile
so
game.
much.
So, like,
Yeah.
I didn't know how to save in the game because it was my first game ever, right? Or my first game of my own. I played Ocarina of Time before I ever played Crystal. So Crystal was my second game to Ocarina of Time.
Real quick, you get the underground kit and Eternal City within grabbing the second badge. Just dropping that in.
Okay. I mean, that's
Okay,
early,
good.
kind of early.
Yeah.
Um,
really enough,
That's
yeah.
that's great though. Back to what I was saying. So I didn't know how to save, so I kept playing with Cyndaquil, not knowing how to save. Then the game would restart, And when I learned how to save was the one time I started with Totodile. So I ended up doing my actual full playthrough of the game with Totodile instead of Cyndaquil. And I always wanted to get a Cyndaquil, and then I didn't realize till after I beat the game that I was never going to be able to catch a Cyndaquil out in the wild.
Right.
It was really sad.
Yep. No, Totodile chose you, man. It's all good.
Totodile did choose me. And you know what? I don't regret it because I love Totodile just as much as I love Cyndaquil. I just think Cyndaquil is a better line in general than the Totodile line, but they're both really cool and great. And I usually start with water types anyways, regardless, so.
Right.
Especially like early in Pokemon, because Totodile is supposed to be more of like a physical attacker, you know? But water type moves were special moves, so there's always been like a weirdness until they kind of fixed that.
Is that why the game was so hard for me?
I mean, it shouldn't have been too hard with Totodile. Totodile was pretty good. Chikorita, on the other hand.
Oh yeah,
boy.
Chikorita. Oh yeah.
You want to know how much time I had on my hands when I had that game? I was a little kid, and it was like before I even started school. So like, I had a level 80 Espeon when the wild Pokemon was still level, like, I want to say less than 20.
What in the? How did you manage that?
I just had
Did you eat a
nothing.
rare candy, dude?
No, I just trained with those wild Pokemon, right? Because I did not know how to get past Ice Cave,
Oh.
the ice cavern. So like I was stuck there in that route right before for like the longest time, and my Espeon got to level 80. I just did nothing but fight Pokemon with it.
Oh man. Okay, I see. A lot of younger players, like when Pokemon first came out, they got stuck in Mount Moon because some either skipped over, not Mount Moon, but Rock Tunnel. Is that the one that's before Lavender Town?
The one where it's like completely dark and you can't see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so many people got lost. It's like a maze, you know. It felt like a real dungeon. So yeah, getting lost in the ice cave, I totally understand that, man. Totally.
Yeah, well, needless to say, when I finally figured it out, the Blackthorn City gym was not ready for me.
Poor Claire.
And neither was the entirety of Kanto.
Yeah, you over here one-shotting everybody.
My Espeon was a massacre.
Yeah. Did he melt through red when you got to Mount Silver?
Funny enough, actually no, Red gave me a little bit of trouble.
Okay.
Red was tough.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because I realized I couldn't beat all of them with just Espeon at that point, so I did have to train some others to get up there. But like everyone else was like level 30 to 40.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Melting
I also had like a level 100 Delibird and had like I had like level 100 really bad Pokemon. It's kind of funny looking back at it, but anyways, we're here to talk about starters right now. So
yeah.
let's move on to you, Veteran X. Who are your
Alrighty.
starters going to be for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl?
All right, so back when I played the original Diamond and Pearl back in Gen 4, I did pick Piplup. That dual typing was it blew my mind. I was like, wow, there's a water steel type Pokemon and it's a starter. So I really like that. But going in for the remake, I'm Team Turtwig for the remakes, and I like his final typing with grass and ground. I love blazing through opponents with Earthquake. It feels so good.
Yeah, Earthquake is awesome. It's like one of my favorite moves in all of Pokemon.
I swear. The only thing I hate is that when I'm doing doubles, like when I was younger, and it would hit my other Pokemon, I used to be so bothered by that. So I had to use a flying Pokemon or something with Levitate to help try to get around that. But yeah, Earthquake just wrecks. You just press A and you win battles. You know, it feels great.
Did anyone else ever notice when they changed the mechanics of Surf? I was super pissed because like I used to be able to use Surf and not hit my partner, but now when I use Surf, it hits my partner. Why?
Man. And I had a fire type as my partner. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to wreck this team. No, I'm over killing everybody.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah, that was my jam back with like Pokemon Coliseum. You had to use Surf to win some of those matches, you know? And you didn't hit your partner back then. And now it's like, dang, well, bye partner.
And
like you go into Surf, like I'm gonna ruin this whole man's day, and then it's like, nope, ruining my own day.
Exactly. Got water in my cereal. Can't even enjoy it.
It went everywhere, even in the cereal.
Okay. I think, did Muddy Water work in the same way as well?
Yeah, it worked exactly the same no matter what the game. So it changed when Surf changed. But yeah, okay, so Vet, what is your starter going to be for Pokemon Legends Arceus?
Ah, yeah. So I've been giving this a lot of thought. So initially, I was going to pick Rowlet because I love Decidueye's design. The ghost and grass typing is one of my favorite dual typings in all of Pokemon. And I was like, yes, for sure, I'm picking Rowlet. But I've seen some leaks floating around on the internet. I don't want to, bring too much speculation and everything. And there's word that the starters are going to have their own Hisui forms. And they're going to have different typings. And one of them is going to have a fire ghost typing. And you can probably guess who that's going to be, Typhlosion. So I'm kind of leaning towards picking Cyndaquil now, based upon these leaks. They haven't been confirmed yet, of course. But if they stay the course, then I'll be picking Typhlosion because I want to see him in a yokai form.
That does sound really dope. But if it doesn't, then you're gonna stick with Cyndaquil, or I'm sorry, not Cyndaquil, Rowlet.
Yeah. If they don't get a Hisui form or any kind of different dual typings, then absolutely, I'm sticking with Rowlet. Decidueye just looks so badass, just pulling its feathers and using them as arrows. Like that's so freaking cool.
Yeah, Decidueye is probably the coolest evolution out of the three of them. I would have to agree there.
One of the best designed Pokemon of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's very well designed.
Yeah,
I
agree.
He has glasses on his face. His glasses in the hood. It's just so adorable. I love it.
yeah, me too. It's really good design. So I guess I'll talk about my choices now.
Right.
So for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, it's actually a super easy choice. I don't like Chimchar and I don't like Turtwig, so Piplup all the way every time. Never not Piplup. However, well, okay, should I explain that a little bit maybe? Piplup's just the cutest, okay? Piplup is a penguin, which is one of my favorite animals, if not my favorite animal. And then ice type, right? No, or water type. Is it water or ice?
It becomes water steel.
Water steel. Okay, that's still cool. Okay, and it can use ice type moves. So whatever. My favorite typing. Easy choice. Piplup all the way for me. I'm probably not going to evolve it. I love my starters the way they are. I don't like them to evolve mostly. So.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the first time I ever heard that. You just keep your starter in its base form. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I try to do that.
I was debating. Oh, sorry.
Do you do that as well, Cayla?
I was debating about it for this game specifically because of Amity Square. I want to be able to run around with Piplup and have it be all cute.
Always, right? Exactly.
Oh.
They only let 2 Pokemon in Amity Square, so if you evolve it, it can't come hang out with you there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. That's what I'm going to do in Legends too, most likely.
You're not going to evolve your starter?
Probably not. In Legends, this was actually one of the hardest choices I've ever had to make picking a starter. I think the other one that was just as hard were 2 games. It was Black and White was very hard, and Gen 7 was very hard to choose. Let me explain those before I reveal who my starter for Legends is, even though half the audience probably already knows. But so Black and White I had trouble because Snivy was like the first grass type starter that I ever fell in love with, mainly because of Serperior. And Serperior is probably my favorite grass type of all time. And then Oshawott in Black and White, and Oshawott's super duper cute, and another one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, but I don't really like its final evolution all that much. So it would be completely different, right? I'd have to stick with the first form. And then, who was the fire type in that one? It was the pig! Oh my gosh, Tepig is also so cute! And Tepig I'd also have to not evolve. So that was one of my hardest choices of all time, was Black and White. I ended up going with Snivy for Black and White, and then Oshawott with Black 2, White 2. And with Snivy, I obviously evolved Snivy to Serperior, and then with Oshawott, I never evolved them. And then the other hard one was Gen 7, which had Incineroar, Decidueye, and...
Primarina.
Oh, the water one.
Water Fairy.
Primarina, yes. Okay. So it was really hard for you guys too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that was a really hard one.
I didn't pick Incineroar because I felt like everyone's going to pick him because he was like the big bad fire type of that gen. So I picked Primarina because I like the dual typing of water and fairy. I was like, oh, fairy on the starter? Yeah, let me rock out with that.
So at first I was like, a Firefox? Of course I'm gonna get that one. This is kind of the same thing as Gen 6. I started with the Firefox in that one. But then like it becomes something else, right? As it evolves, it's not a fox anymore, or was it a cat and it evolves
Becomes
into
a
like
wrestler.
a cat? A wrestling cat, yeah. I didn't like that.
Fennekin though. Fennekin's the Firefox. Litton's a cat.
So Lynn's a cat. Okay, I thought when I saw Litten, I thought it was also a fox. So I was like, oh, it's a cute little fire fox. Again.
Litton is so cute, but Incineroar looks like Tony the Tiger. I'm like, what is going on?
Incineroar is kind of cool too, but then there was the water type. What's it called? Poplio.
Yeah.
Poplio was super ugly, and I was like, who would ever start with Poplio, right?
And
But then Primarina is so cool.
Yeah, Primarina was freaking badass.
Honestly, I think Primarina is the coolest evolved form of any of the ones from Gen 7.
I
So,
don't know, Decidueye though.
but then
Rowlet,
Rowlet is strong from start to finish. So Rowlet's cute, and then it evolves into a really cool Pokemon. So I actually ended up choosing Rowlet. So with that knowledge, knowing that I started with Cyndaquil in Gen 2, I started with Rowlet in Gen 7, and that I kind of started with Oshawott in Gen 5 in a way with one of the versions with the sequels. It was a really hard choice, really hard, and so I'm gonna go with Oshawott just because I think Oshawott's the cutest out of all of them. And seeing Oshawott in the game when I see any of the clips just makes me want to like keep Oshawott, never evolve him, just have him as my buddy the entire time. And I also feel like he's going to be under chosen compared to the others because I know for a fact that Rowlet and Decidueye are super popular, and I know for a fact that Cyndaquil and Typhlosion are super popular as well. So, oh, and then also Oshawott's a water type, which is also my favorite typing too, along with ice. So that's another win.
Yeah, Oshawott is gonna be a good choice, and you hit the nail on the head that people are definitely gonna be picking Cyndaquil to get that Typhlosion.
Absolutely.
I can already see
Cyndaquil is
it.
probably going to be the most picked, with Rowlet being a close second, probably.
Right. Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's all of our starters for both games.
Oh yeah. I'm ready to rock out.
Now let's go ahead and move on to another topic then. Let's talk about what possible overworld activities we might see in Pokemon Legends. So the kind of things that I'm wondering here, or actually, Veteran, this was your question, so why don't you lead this one?
Yeah, so in Legends Arceus, in the trailers we see that you get to interact with the Pokemon with the player character himself and your Pokemon. And while you're going through the overworld, I was curious, are there going to be any like side activities or any kind of things to look out for, extra collectibles, side quests within the overworld? I just didn't want it to be a repeat of the wild area kind of,
No one wants that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I just wanted to have content. That's all I'm asking for, just content within the overworld. Plenty of things for players to do while they're out roaming. And some things that I would like to see, I guess, just like unique items as far as customization goes. Like you can find like unique dyes or clothing within the overworld, and you can customize your trainer out with that.
Ooh.
So I'm just hoping that Game Freak, they really take their time with the overworld and put out meaningful content and not just go get the Pokemon, finish your quest, and go back to the village.
Yeah. Cayla, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think there probably are going to be some form of side quests in the game in terms of like, I think they're going to be related to the Pokédex, but I think they're not going to be as simple as like, go catch 10 of this Pokemon or something dumb like that. I think it's because like we see a part where there's this like dude that's standing in front of the professor's place, like that whole big Team Galaxy building. And if you see in the clips, like when you talk to him, he'll be like quest completed and stuff like that. And then we also see a clip of like a trainer kind of sneaking up on a Weasel, but the camera angle is a little weird, so it seems like it's something other than what like we would normally do. It seems like it's some sort of story quest kind of thing. So I'm hoping there'll be something like find a Weasel that's asleep and like sneak up on it,
Yeah,
oh, you think that's
awesome?
You thought that scene was like an actual like main point in the game?
It seemed like it was almost like like a little bit of a cutscene, you know, like you sneak up close enough to it and then you get this like little cutscene. I'm hoping there's stuff like that. You know, like I think Gen 7 had one where you like had to throw Pukumuku like back into the ocean or something like that. Just like little things like that, but a lot more of them.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I totally get it. And speaking on that, Cayla, I recall from one of the trailers, they show it for like maybe like 6 frames, but if you ever deposit correctly on one of the, I think it's one of the Pokédex entries, it has like a checklist of things that you can observe from a Pokemon. I think one of them saying observe how many times that you've seen it use bite, or how many you've defeated, how many of this type of Pokemon you've defeated, how many you've seen, how many you've captured. I think on the checklist it also has how many times it hit you with critical hit moves. So there are going to be some checklists and optional objectives, I believe, within the Pokédex itself, and I really think that's pretty neat that Game Freak's tracking all of that, those pieces of content, and I think it ties into what you were saying, just like being able to interact with the Pokemon differently, and just other things that we'll be able to do with them.
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Cayla.
I'm hoping that it's like that, where a lot of those are very like repetitive though. I'm hoping it has like one that's like, okay, this is like the special quest for this one, where
Right.
it's like a one
Right.
event thing that's more exactly. Yeah,
So-
I'm hoping it has those too.
I was hoping that they actually branch out of the whole Pokedex thing altogether for some side quests, or for a lot of side quests, not just some. I'm hoping to see more things like maybe there's like a dangerous Pokemon in the overworld, right? Or like an alpha Pokemon is somewhere, but there is an item that someone dropped around that area, and we have to go there knowing that it's a really powerful alpha Pokemon around there and try to sneak around and get it, like maybe like a stealth quest or something like that. I hope to see a lot of elements of Breath of the Wild put into the game, like overworld secrets that you can find. Kind of pointing on what you were saying earlier, Veteran X, when you were talking about like finding clothes in like, I guess, boxes out in the wild or something, I would love to see something like that where you like, kind of like Zelda, how you find chests, but maybe you find something else in the Pokemon world lying around, and you find secrets and some cool collectibles and things like that possibly will even, let you customize your game even more than outfits,
Absolutely, man. You totally hit it on the head. It's another reason for you to go out on an expedition besides, the Pokemon being the main incentive. It's like, okay, I'm actually about to go out and accomplish a legit mission, or I need to go find this item. It rewards players for wanting to play the game and interact with the overworld and the spaces and the landscape within there. So it'll be awesome if Game Freak does that. They're already switching up the formula with Legends Arceus. They might as well implement and try different things. So I'm here for it. Please, Game Freak, listen loudly, listen clearly, make it happen.
Seriously.
Make it great.
I don't even know if any of them speak English, but so they probably aren't listening.
Yeah,
even if they did become aware of my channel.
Oh man, they're taking everything seriously from you, bro.
We'll
No,
just have to practice our Japanese more.
Platinum Games
yeah.
takes me seriously. They liked one of my videos recently, but not Game Freak. They don't like it, or they haven't seen it, I should say. They're
They
too
probably
big.
haven't seen it.
They're way too big. Platinum Games is at least like small enough to where they can actually look at fan posts and stuff.
Yeah, they can interact with it.
Yeah, so I was actually, this was a want of mine that I mentioned in a video a long time ago on Pokemon Legends, where I was talking about like side quest possibilities and like Pokemon interactivity possibilities, and I was saying it'd be cool how if we fulfilled side quests for people in the overworld, and when, say there's a character that describes a Pokemon to you, right, without actually saying who it is, and we go out and try to find that Pokemon for them, based on the description they give us. And if we were to bring that Pokemon back and show it to them, if they would take that Pokemon, and from then on, their overworld is affected to where you see that person with that Pokemon from then on. So like, I want to see things like that, where the world feels alive and like it's moving with you as you progress. You know what I mean?
Holy crap, dude, are you a freaking game designer? Like, what the hell did you just pop out of your head just now? That was incredible.
I mean, it reminds me of like Zelda Majora's Mask, something like that. You would, you would find a mask, you would give it to someone, and from then on, the person would wear the mask, and they'd be doing something completely different with the mask from then on, you know?
Dude, that was the perfect analogy when you just brought up Majora's Mask. Because
Yep.
if the world feels lived in, even through subsequent playthroughs, even now to this day, when I go back and play Majora's Mask, it feels like I'm actually interacting with these townsfolk and solving like mundane issues like, hey, there's someone in distress at a milk bar. Like,
Yes,
like
yep.
things like that.
And the crazy thing is, that game was, what, over 2 decades ago?
Yeah, it's older than some people that's probably gonna be watching this video.
And the world
Like-
felt so alive. Even today, going back and playing it, like you just said, it still feels so alive. And that's a 2-decade-old game. It's so crazy.
Right.
So something like that could easily be implemented into a modern game like Pokemon Legends. And I would love to see that.
Yep, totally agree.
Ooh, you know what would be cool too?
What?
What if they have, so like obviously Pokemon Legends takes place in the past, but what if they had things that were like even more ancient? You know, like, because we have the Reggie puzzles in
Yeah.
Gen 3, like have some sort of like puzzle like that where we have to actually like solve something that's even more ancient.
Oh, I would love to see puzzles. We know that there's some stuff that is more ancient because we see those like broken pillars and stuff in Legends.
Exactly.
So that's a good hint towards it. I would love to see us actually, that reminds me, I would love to see us be able to interact with the environments more. Like, I hope that we're able to like cut things down or like burn an obstacle that's in the way of progressing to a new area or something
Burn
like
a
that.
whole forest
I
to the
love it.
ground.
Burn a tree, not the whole forest.
It's just like that meme with Elmo with all the flames in the background.
Yeah.
You'll see, if they put that in the game, you know you're gonna see screenshots and quick video clips of like the trainer walking slowly away as the tree burns behind them with their Oshawott or their Cyndaquil with them.
Yeah. It would be perfect, man. Oh.
Oh, too good, too good. Yeah, I would love to see that. We know that there's a little bit of that already because we've seen them, like, they can hit the trees. So that's something.
Yeah. And Cayla, I really like what you brought up. Just being able to interact with the more ancient lore within the game. I think that would be a really high note in Legends Arceus if Game Freak is able to knock that out the park. And I've been thinking about it, like, you know, will we be able to interact with the distortion world? You know, with Giratina as well? How is that going to be implemented within Legends Arceus? So, I mean, there are so many possibilities that Game Freak can do here, and I'm really looking forward to it.
You know, it is possible that we'll see the distortion world in Legends because in those leaked images before we got the official trailer on like the flying mechanic and the riding mechanic and all that, there were leaked images of those things. And it's exactly what we saw in the reveal trailer. So those leaked images were definitely legit. And in a few of them, you could see Mount Coronet in the back, and it had a looming circular dark cloud over it. Yeah, which is apparently what happens when the distortion world comes in Platinum.
Yep, it sure is.
Imagine the distortion worlds with like the graphics of Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yep.
That'd be insane.
That'd be so cool.
Heck yes.
It's a possibility. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. It's all up in the air.
All right, Veteran X, you had another idea that you wanted us to talk about. I'll let you go ahead and segue us into that.
All right. Yeah, so I was curious, would there be base building and customization with your own houses within Legends Arceus? Since we're already switching up the formula, it's open world-ish. I feel like having your own house that you can decorate with furniture or mats or different pieces of anything really that you find out in the overworld, that would be really nice just to switch up the formula and give players another thing that they can sink their teeth into. Kind of like a secret base almost, but you know, it's a legit house. Like, man, I got a stove top in here. Well, not maybe a stove, but maybe like
you're
maybe like
spoiled.
A fireplace.
No.
Yeah.
You're spoiled by Temtem. That's what it is. You are spoiled by Temtem. Temtem is ahead of its time with its like evolution of the Pokemon formula, because you can make an entire ass house in Temtem.
Yes, you absolutely can.
You can customize it just like it's Animal Crossing. It's insane.
Exactly. I'm spoiled. I might be just a little bit, but no. But I call it hopeful. I'm more hopeful than anything, man.
I'm with you. I want that so bad. That's part of the reason I'm excited for Temtem to come to Switch whenever it does, because I want to be able to make a house. But like Pokemon, imagine in Pokemon Legends if you could just like make a house, because obviously we've seen how they're handling the bases in the remake of Diamond and Pearl. They're not hitting the mark with that. All you can put is like a few statues in there now. They took out furniture, they took out like flag catching in the underground. They took out so many features that people loved in the originals with their bases and with the underground. Like, so now it's like an empty shell of what it once was, to where you can just like unlock Pokemon in the underground. So I'm hoping in Legends they bring some sort of house building. And it's a possibility because it's obviously very clearly inspired by Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I mean, I draw a lot of comparisons to this, but Breath of the Wild, you can customize your own house, kind of, to an extent. You can like upgrade your own house. You also build an entire town throughout the game in one of the progression segments. So like there's parts of that they could bring over and do even better in Pokemon Legends. And I would love to see that.
Yep, yeah, I know what you mean. What you think, Cayla?
I feel like it's perfect for it because we already have a crafting mechanic in Legends.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Like, why not craft other things like furniture or bring materials to somebody to have it crafted, you know, in the town? And plus, we also have that like farm area, like that ranch where we can like put our Pokemon, you know, when we're not actually bringing them with us. So why not be like have a couple special Pokemon hanging out in your house that you can go see and hang out with? That would be so cute.
That would be. Another cute idea would be, even if we don't have a house to customize, maybe we could customize the ranch.
Yeah, just some kind of customization. That'd be nice.
That would be cute. Yeah, like you could see our Pokemon in the ranch with whatever customized stuff we put in there. I mean, it's not as great as like a house building, obviously. Especially since in the house, I would hope you'd be able to take your Pokemon out to walk around with you and chill in the house with you.
Yeah. But... I really hope so, because if we do get house base building and, you know, furniture, like if you make a bed, you can rest in it and you can have like special buffs before you go on a mission. You know, it can interact directly with the gameplay. It's like, oh man, I get extra EXP now that I'm well rested, or I might be able to have extra luck when I'm searching for different crafting parts out in the overworld, things like that. So I think they could do rested bonuses if we do have beds and furniture.
Cool idea. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's possible. Obviously, this is all possible. Everything we're talking about is in the realm of possibilities. It's just a matter of if they're going to do it, you know?
Absolutely.
Obviously, this is their first game that's this level of quality and depth. So they might not have all of this stuff in this first go at this genre that they've never really dived into before, this open world or semi-open world genre, you know, with like actual damage mechanics to your character and actual movement options and things like that. Yeah. Obviously, from what we've seen so far, I think I'm more than satisfied, but these things are definitely possible to be added to the game too, but knowing their development schedule makes me skeptical to see any of these things, unfortunately.
Ooh, man, yes, especially with Game Freak, and never mind, I don't want to badmouth Game Freak.
We don't really, it's not really, at this point, looking at Legends, I don't think it's Game Freak that is the issue holding it back from having more features.
Mm-hmm. What you think? Maybe time?
I think it's the Pokemon Company, and the time crunch that they've established for them, you know?
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely like trying to churn out games as fast as they can.
Absolutely.
A little bit crazy.
Don't get me wrong. There's no excuse for what Sword and Shield ended up being. They had a full 3-year development cycle for that game, and it still ended up becoming trash. But we are seeing that they have at least some talent and some willingness to evolve and put quality into their work with Legends.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm excited to see, you know, all those efforts come to fruition, and just to see how far they've come within these past, you know, 20 plus years of them existing. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And now that they're like kind of handing some projects out to other companies, you know, like BDSP with Ilka, I hope they actually use that as an excuse to give themselves at least an extra year of development time. With Legends, it's weird, right? Because they're coming out with it just a few months after instead of a year after. But maybe we'll see them start a trend where they only have, you know, their one big release as usual and that way they could put a little more quality into everything. Maybe, we'll see.
I mean, if they have different teams rotating, you know, which ones release games, then they can have a longer development cycle, you know, because the expectation will be like, okay, this team releases this year and this team releases then, and
or
kind of stagger it out.
Right.
Or they can actually just hire more than 150 employees.
Oh my, yes.
They could
all of this.
Then they could just make their own 2 teams in their own company. That way they don't have to let another company be paid instead of their own.
Right, dude, I totally forgot. Yeah, just 100 people, you know, that's working with Game Freak, and they're responsible for this massive IP, this video game.
Yep, less than 150. And to put into perspective, the largest video game company is which one? Ubisoft, I think. Was it Ubisoft? And they have like 3,000 people on that one. Yeah, those are the people that make Assassin's Creed. Yeah, or is it CD Projekt Red that has 3,000? I forgot. Either way, like all these companies have way more than 150.
I think CD Projekt Red probably has 1,800.
Yeah,
I'm
see?
Just guessing. Yeah.
See? And like even indie developers and indie companies have more people. Like at Platinum Games, you know, they put out like they put out the like absolute highest quality games that you'll ever see on the market. And I think they have like 400 something people in that one, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. But like that sounds like it's still a small number, right? But if you put it into perspective of Game Freak, that's at least 4 times the amount of people Game Freak has, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just checked. CD Projekt Red has right at 1,000, like 1,111 employees. So
See?
yeah, it's
Man.
And
This sounds like a capitalism problem.
the money pinch.
Yeah, it's something like that, right?
And yeah, you know, Pokemon is the most profitable IP on planet Earth, and they have less employees than most indie developers. So I don't know, man.
They're the most profitable media franchise on Earth. Yes,
Yep.
definitely.
So,
All right.
Pokemon, listen up, hire all of us.
Yeah.
Hire me as director.
We'll get it off the ground.
Hire me as director. I know what can be done. All right.
We'll be in the creative department. It'll
Yes.
be great.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to the next thing. And this one is another question by you, Vet. So I'll let you ask this one again.
Okay. Yeah, so I was curious, are there other settlements within Legends Arceus? We know about the main town that will be, you know, our head base is stationed in. I mean, not head base, headquarters. I don't know where I got head base from. Our headquarters.
Hearing head base out loud, it just sounds wrong. I don't know.
Base.
Something about that just sounds dirty.
It's like, what's going on here? You sure you playing the same game? But yeah,
That's
where
a
our
Pokemon?
Head base? Oh no.
head base. But yeah, where our headquarters is stationed in, we know where that's going to be at. But are there other villages and settlements or outposts to discover? Would they have their own, you know, unique flavors to them? Would they be like staying in cabins or tents, maybe within stone caverns, maybe? So I was curious, you know, are there other towns to discover
So
within this wonderful landscape?
I'll let Cayla maybe touch on the possibility of other towns, but first I want to point out that we definitely see, and I pretty much have confirmed, Snowpoint Temple is at least another building or structure that we'll see in the game. So I'm hoping there's like a civilization in Snowpoint Temple. And then there's also the possibility that we'll have a civilization up on top of Mount Coronet where Spear Pillar is. There might be some sort of civilization there, possibly, but that one's a little less likely, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get some version of Snowpoint City, just because, you know, Snowpoint Temple is there. I don't know, it's probably not, obviously not going to be like as the way that Snowpoint City is in the modern day.
Of course.
I don't think we're gonna get a lot of other civilizations. I think it's mostly gonna be just those tents where we're camping out, because I think if there's too many civilizations, it's gonna feel too safe. And I think they really want to play up this like, oh, you're in the dangerous unknown of Sinnoh, you know, of like historical Sinnoh. So I think if there's like a lot of towns, it'll feel too much like, okay, now I'm gonna go run and hide in this place for a while because it's just too much out here in the wild.
But let's say you're
You
on the
know?
opposite corner of the map from Jubilife Village, right?
Yeah.
If you're there has to be some sort of like hub. I mean, I guess they have the tents, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
right? But just to
Yep.
like spice it up and like keep it interesting, there has to be some sort of other town or village or civilization to go visit there, right?
Yeah, not overload the world with it, but just scarce enough to be like, okay, I discovered a new town.
Yes.
But not too populated to like to Kayla's point that you feel like, oh, I'm safe. I could just run here and go heal up and I'll be good to go. Because Kayla, I do agree. I wouldn't want it to have too many civilizations, but just some just to keep the world feeling alive and feeling fresh.
Yeah, I think ideally I would want to see at least 3 civilizations or settlements
Yeah, some
in the
settlements.
game. That way it's like not too much to overload the map, but it's like spaced out enough to where like you can have this feeling of wonder, of discovery to find this like village you never even knew of before,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I could see more like finding a group of people camping out, more than I think that we'll find an actual like village.
Well, I hope we see at
Yeah.
least that too. But like part of the magic of Breath of the Wild was like villages I didn't even know about. Like the first time I came across Lurelin Village, which is like a completely optional place on the map, and like it's like hidden behind a bunch of mountains by the beach. And then what else was it? I mean, I guess all the towns are technically hidden
Yeah.
in Breath of the Wild. But Breath of the Wild also has a much larger map. And Breath of the Wild had how many settlements? I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4.
You mean like the main big settlements?
5,
Or
yeah. I think
Okay.
there was like at least 6 or 7, right? 7. There's at least 7. 8 if you count the forest. Yeah, so they had 8. So like with this map being obviously much smaller, I think 3 to 4 would be a good number to have.
Yeah, as long as they don't go crazy with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they are gonna go crazy with it, but
Yeah.
I hope that they have them at all, is what I'm more worried about. I'm scared they won't have any at all.
Yeah. I really like the point that Kayla brought out. Just having that sense of danger within the wild. So
Yep.
yeah, as long as they hit that sweet spot, don't overdo it and overload us. I think they can do it.
Yep, that'd be a solid.
Yep.
Okay, so the next question that we have on our list, and we only have a few more, so this one was brought to us by Cayla. So Cayla, I will let you ask this one, and we'll all answer.
Yeah. So this one is, who do we think the villain is in Pokemon Legends Arceus? Because I've heard a lot of different things from different people in terms of like, oh, I think it's gonna be this person or that person. So I'm curious, like, if you guys think it's gonna be a person or a Pokemon or who it's gonna be. I don't know if I should like say who I think it is first, or
No,
if you guys want...
because I think you and I have actually the same opinion,
Yeah, we
Cayla.
talked about this.
So,
yeah.
Veteran X
Okay.
Gaming, why don't you
Yes,
tell
yes.
us? Well, yours. I'm curious to hear your thoughts
Okay.
on who you think the villain is.
Okay, it's gonna sound like a hot take, but I don't think they've shown the villain yet. In my opinion, I think the villain.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Cayla.
Yeah, I'm thinking the villain could be someone who gets possessed by Giratina, and they want to control the origin of all Pokemon, aka Arceus, and they start to reveal their true motives as we progress throughout the game. But as far as who that character would be, I don't think the trailers have showed him yet, in my opinion.
Whoa, wait a
Yes.
second, Cayla.
Mhm.
The person that we think it is, what if they're possessed by Giratina? Because remember, we both pointed out that they wear similar color scheme and stuff to Giratina.
True, it is entirely possible.
That would be
Man.
cool. That would
Yes,
be cool.
it would.
I actually really like that theory that like, well, one, the theory that like we haven't seen them yet, and two, the theory that like they're possessed by Giratina. That'd be a cool idea. Why do you think that, by the way?
Well, because I think Giratina might play a pretty big part within Legends Arceus, that being it's Dragon and Ghost, and within the original Gen 4 games, he was introduced as like the anti creation in regards to Dialga and Palkia. So I feel like he might play that same role. Well, his origins here within this game, and we get to see like the beginning of Giratina like this is his first evil step towards whatever it wants to create, whether that be chaos or destruction or just wanting a friend.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool.
Yeah, I love this theory so much.
Me too. That's actually like that blows our theory out the water. Although it could work hand in hand with our theory. So.
Like we're
Oh,
not
God.
worthy.
Yeah, you guys are making me blush. Thank you so much.
No, that's great. Giratina is like anti-Arceus and anti-Dialga-Palkia, so I would love to see some sort of feud between at least Arceus and Giratina in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if we're gonna see. Do you guys think we're gonna see Dialga-Palkia in the game?
We got to. We
I
have
think
to.
so.
You think
Yeah.
so? Really? I
Yeah.
actually was skeptical about seeing them in Legends. I don't think
They
we're gonna
have
see
to.
them.
Because they're the direct descendants from Arceus. So if they imagine if they didn't have them within this game, I couldn't imagine what people like. Yo, what the heck? You missed the integral part of Arceus.
Right. Yeah, Arceus created them. Like, I feel like it would be weird if they're not included.
I'm most curious to see if they are included, how they're implemented.
Yeah, now that part that's what I'm curious about too. How would they be implemented?
All right, Cayla, I guess it's time for us to say who we think the villain is.
Oh yeah, who's the
So-
villain?
We think that it might be Commander Kamado because he's like super shady. It says that everybody who follows him is just like loyal to him without question. And like when somebody has unquestionable loyalty towards somebody, like that's usually the people who do that are like the team grunts, like the evil team grunts, like toward their leader, you know, like Team Rocket to Giovanni and like all of those. So we're like, that's really suspicious.
Heck, in any media, not even just Pokemon, that's always a red flag, you know?
Yeah, that's very true.
And on top of that, Commander Kamado also, talks a lot about how he thinks Pokemon are dangerous. He probably is very against Pokemon and humans becoming friends and interacting. That seems to be something that the Galaxy team under, what's that girl's name? Silene? Seems to be what their motives are, but I feel like he's kind of against it. And then on top of that, if you look at his design is very different from everyone else's. Like everyone else looks like they're trying to dress more sleek and modern. But he's like very staunchly traditional looking and boxy. And his colors also match Giratina, which I think is another thing that's like trying to say this guy's anti-heavenly and wanting Pokemon to work together, with humans and things like that. So.
Okay, yeah, I see what you guys are saying. I like that a lot. Because when I first saw the trailers, I thought that he was like, oh, this he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy.
Oh, you
But
thought
I
it
was
too?
Yeah, when they first showed the trailer back in early this year, the very first one, or no, the first one.
The first one they showed him in, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he might be evil.
Yeah, I thought he was the bad guy from the get-go. And that Silene, because they said Silene deep down cares about us. Otherwise, I would have thought Silene was a bad guy. Because just look at her resting bitch face, But
I was thinking it. I didn't know if anyone was gonna say it. Johnny came through.
she has it. But Kamado also has a resting bitch face. And all
yeah.
that other stuff we talked about. So.
Yeah, Kamado probably sleeps without a blanket.
Yeah.
He sleeps with that
That's
robot.
evil.
He doesn't need a blanket.
Yeah,
He's got enough.
He's got his sword right next to him. He's just like ready. He's
Oh my
like,
goodness.
Right next
He's
to
like,
him.
don't come near me while I'm asleep. My
Yeah.
cut here.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, that's all of our theories on who the villain is.
Now, some people think though that Arceus is gonna be the villain.
I can see
And
that.
I'm like, I feel like that's weird though, because Arceus is supposed to be like, oh, Arceus.
Yeah.
I do think that Arceus is going to be a villainous figure, at least for some of the game.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe
It's just 'cause
someone
the-
manipulate,
The scene of like the lightning striking the tree and then the alpha Pokemon coming out, I feel like Arceus is doing that out of some sort of anger of sorts. So I'm curious to see why. You and I both think that it's probably because of something Kamado's doing.
Right, yeah, I think it's gonna be like, oh, Arceus is evil, or Kamado's gonna be like, Arceus is evil, like we have to do something about it, and then it's gonna be like, no, Kamado's actually the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before we end the video, let's talk about what we're both most scared of And then we're going to talk after that about what we're most excited of for both of these games, for both Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Legends Arceus. Cayla, we're going to start with you. What are you most scared about for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl?
Well, for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, I'm most scared that they're going to be completely faithful remakes with absolutely no changes at all to the lore. I always love diving into lore and like going through and figuring out different theories and things like that. So if they don't give us anything to go off of for that, and if it's just all the same, I'm going to be really disappointed. Yeah.
Especially with no platinum content.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm just like, they have so many opportunities to incorporate new things. I'm like, please do that.
I agree. I'm with you 100%. And then what about Pokemon Legends? What are you most scared about for that?
So for Pokemon Legends, honestly, I'm not scared about the game itself. I'm scared about people's reaction to it. I'm worried that, like, people are just not gonna like it because it's different. Like, there's gonna be people who say like, oh, it's not good enough or something like that, and it's really just like they're trying something new. So I'm hoping that people will like it enough that they'll take this idea and this concept and, you know, do more with it with another game, you know, and have like a Pokemon Legends series. So like, my worst fear is that it just won't do well.
I'm with you. If it makes you feel any better, though, I think most people actually prefer this new direction over the old one.
I think so too. I just know there's a tendency for people to like really nitpick things.
True.
And it's their first time doing a game of this style for Pokemon. And so I'm just like, oh man, like it could get real bad.
True that. All right, Veteran X, for you, what are you most scared about for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl?
All right, I'm going to sound like a total parrot because I'm going to copy Kayla's exact answer for BDSP.
Oh my goodness, you parrot.
Yeah, I'm going to be a total a total parrot, man. I really hope that BDSP isn't just a one-to-one remake. They just one-to-one remaster. They just taken Pearl and Diamond and put it into 3D, because so far I haven't seen too much innovation that makes me feel like, okay, this is a whole new experience from what Pearl and Diamond, or hell, what even Platinum brought to the table. So I'm really hoping that they integrate some new features, some new content, something for players to dive into to make them feel like, yeah, this purchase was definitely worth it. Because otherwise, what's stopping you from playing Platinum? Clearly the more superior game from the Gen 4, from those three titles. So I hopefully Ilka, they got the help and resources they need to make this feel like a true remake rather than just an upscale remaster. I'm
with you 100%. All right, and then what about your fears for Pokemon Legends? I'm curious to hear this one.
My fears, let's see. Well, the graphical fidelity, I just hope that the game performs well. You know, we've all seen the 2 FPS chingling within that first trailer.
Yeah, but that's done and over with. We haven't seen that again, if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that you know, it stays that quality stays, you know, uniform across the board. You know, they manage the pop-ins, things of that nature. Hopefully it won't be too jarring, but other than that, I'm really excited for the game itself. Like, I love this direction they're going in. Just the graphical performance, you know, use that Switch. It may not be one of the most powerful platforms, but it's a pretty strong console. It runs some pretty demanding games. Of course, we spoke at length about Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles, hell, even that port of The Witcher 3. It runs some pretty demanding games.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
no one ever gives it enough credit.
I'm telling you, man, the Switch, it's the most strongest console that Pokemon's been on, besides, I guess, the GameCube, when, you know, they had Pokemon Coliseum.
I love those games.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I'm scared about. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, especially about the console. Man, people downplay the Switch's power so much, and I'm like, guys, look at these games. Look at Bayonetta 2. Look at Astral Chain. Look at I think Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Ultimate.
Right, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Smash Ultimate, Astral Chain. The Witcher 3. There was another one you mentioned. Like, those are all
Freaking
great
Animal
examples.
Crossing, man.
Even Animal Crossing, right? The graphical fidelity is so good in that game. Even if the art style is not, serious, the actual graphical fidelity is really good.
It's like really good, especially when you play on the TV. There's like so much texture. Like
Yes.
everything is textured.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's sharp and clean and clear. Yeah,
Absolutely.
the Switch is, it's not a PlayStation 5, but it's not a Game Boy Advance either. Like, it has strength behind it.
Definitely. Okay, so I guess I'll talk about my fears and stuff about them. So I'll start with BDSP. My biggest fears for that, it's aside from the same thing as you guys, just hoping that it's worth $60, that there is new content, new lore, which I don't know if that's going to be there. I'm really hoping that the quality stays consistent in that more so. I think Pokemon Legends has shown like a lot of promise with its constant quality, whereas BDSP, I keep getting mixed signals every trailer. Like specifically with the battles, the overworld looks really nice, and I really like the overworld, but in the battles, there's a lot of things that irk me and I'm scared about. Like, I'm scared that those outdoor fights, the wind's not going to be blowing the trees in the background, there's going to be no movement to it. I'm scared that the battles are going to look boring, because the only saving grace for Sword and Shield was the art style. The cell shaded graphics made everything look nice and vibrant and had a pop to it, and there was movement with like wind blowing effects and things like that with the backgrounds, even if the Pokemon themselves didn't have great animation. But we already know in BDSP that they don't have good animations for the Pokemon still. They didn't use the same models that they're using for Legends. They didn't use the new animations that they're using for Legends. Like, everything still looks really primitive in the battles when it comes to the Pokemon. And then the character models don't look much better. And then if the backgrounds don't move, I just feel like the whole thing's gonna feel pretty cheap. So I am scared about the overall quality of the game as a whole.
Okay.
But for Pokemon Legends, my biggest fear is probably, aside from like fear of constant quality, like there was like a clip that we saw of a leaked footage of the character making a Starly run away, and then when the character stopped walking, they just like stood in place and then slid down the slope without moving. It looked really weird and jarring. So I'm scared of things like that.
Do you have a link to that clip? Can you send that to me?
Yeah, I'll see if I can send it to you after. I found it on Twitter.
Or put it on the background right now.
Oh yeah, within the video.
Yeah, if I can find it again, I'll put it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just really scared about that. It was actually in one of my past videos, so I can just download that past video and put it on the clip. But yeah, so I'm just scared of the overall quality of that too, but also just like that there's not going to be enough going on with the world. I'm scared that there's not going to be more settlements. I'm scared that there's not going to be enough interactivity with our Pokemon. I'm scared to see exactly how taking them out of the Pokeball works. I really don't want a repeat of Sword and Shield where the Pokemon doesn't keep up with you. I don't know if these Pokemon are gonna like keep up or try to walk with us in the overworld, or if they just stay in one place when we throw them out. And honestly, I'd rather them stay in one place and then revert back into the Pokeball if they can't properly code them keeping up with us.
Yeah. Pokemon Let's Go, they did a really good job with that. If the
They
Pokemon,
did.
Yeah.
Yep.
If they got too far, they went back to the Pokeball and they came back out.
I
It was
agree.
Yeah, that
very
looked
seamless.
really good.
It looked
Yeah.
really good, and that's perfect. And I think that's what they're doing in BDSP, which is perfect. But in Legends, I don't know what they're gonna do. It's obviously a little bit different to work with it because the camera is gonna be completely different. It's not top down, like both of those aforementioned games. But there's definitely ways that they could do it. Like, we see other games pull this off just fine. Breath of the Wild, you can pull out Wolf Link. Wolf Link is so cool how it just like runs around the environments around you, interacts with it on his own. Navi in Ocarina of Time keeps up with you, flying around your head, goes into your hat.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely possible to implement these things properly. And those are just two examples. Temtem, look at Temtem. Temtem does it fine. I just really hope that they do it right and do it justice. I don't want... Okay, what I'm most worried about, if I were to sum it up in one thing, what I'm most worried about with Legends is that it's going to make the Pokemon feel like they're not themselves. because that's a huge issue that I had in Sword and Shield. It was so immersion breaking, all the different flaws that game had, to where the Pokemon just felt like shells of what they're supposed to be. And I didn't feel like I was looking at an actual Pokemon. I felt like I was looking at some like computer glitch version of what the Pokemon should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, missing no.
Yeah. I was looking at a bunch of missing no's. So yeah. With that, let's go ahead and talk about the more positive side. Let's start with you this time, Veteran X. What are you most excited about for BDSP?
Well, I'm excited to see those great games, Diamond and Pearl, finally being brought to the Switch and within the 3D world. And it gives other players who didn't get a chance to experience those firsthand on the DS a new light. They have a DS now. Not DS, but a Switch. They can finally experience those games. Probably not to the same, levels of nostalgia that we had, but they're finally exposed to it, and what made those games so great. So I'm glad that a whole new generation of players can get exposed to it, and just excited to see, will those Pokemon be integrated within upcoming generations now that it's on the Switch? And it's always good to have more Pokemon games on this console anyway. So yeah, I'm very positive in that regard.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
And then what about Pokemon Legends? What are you most excited for in that one?
Oh man, where to begin? Just the fact that they're switching, up the formula after 20 plus years, that's already has my attention off the top. And then the fact that the player character can interact with the Pokemon themselves like a legit action ARPG.
Yep.
It really, really makes me smile. I'm curious to see the new agile style and the other style, just coming up with crazy combos to knock out Pokemon, discovering the lore, crafting items. I love crafting in video games, collecting the raw resources and then building like different parts and pieces. I love doing that so much in video games. I'm excited to dive into that. Just exploring Sinnoh before it became what we know as today, discovering ruins, interacting with the new Hisuian forms of Pokemon. I can keep going for another 20 minutes. There's a lot that I'm happy for this game.
I can tell.
I really hope. Yeah, man.
You're like giving me goosebumps with this explanation.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited for it, and hopefully, Game Freak sticks to landing here. I really, really hope that they got the help from Nintendo and any other outside resources to make this game as good as possible.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, Cayla, you're up. What are you most excited for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl?
So for BDSP, I'm most excited that they seem to be implementing a lot of things that are fixing some of the problems with like the original Diamond and Pearl. It seems like they are fixing, because Diamond and Pearl had like some pacing issues and some issues with like available types, and like it seems like they really have done a good job in terms of like addressing some of the things that kind of slowed down the original games. And so I'm hoping that the pacing problems from the originals and some of the other things, they really just probably won't even be in BDSP at all. So it's going to be nice to be able to like appreciate the really like in-depth story of that generation. Like that story is absolutely amazing. So like being able to not have to be bogged down by the pacing and being able to really go with the flow of that story is just going to be so cool.
Wow, nice explanation.
Oh yes.
And then, oh yeah, what?
Oh, were you done with BDSP, or are you?
Yeah, I'm done with BDSP.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was just gonna segue you, but you can segue yourself if you want.
Oh, okay. And now on to Pokemon Legends Arceus. So for Pokemon Legends Arceus, I'm just so excited to dive into the lore. Going into the past of a region is absolutely bonkers. Like, I can't even imagine how many little tiny hidden details are going to be in this game that are going to connect to the future. It's just, and there's going to be so much to speculate about too, because they might not even tell us like you know, we're already starting to speculate, like, oh, this person is related to this person, and this person is related to this person. But it's entirely possible that there's going to be a whole bunch of things that we just won't know. Like, they're not going to tell us everything. And we're just going to have to kind of figure it out. And that whole process of figuring it out is just so exciting.
Awesome. Wow. Sorry, I kind of got distracted because your mic was like making this like hum sound that sounded like Sans from Undertale. And I don't know if people can hear that or not right now.
I could hear that. It did sound like Sans from Undertale.
Okay, good. I'm about to say I was kind of hoping that it actually was coming through in the recording because it was actually making me laugh. So I'm leaving that in. Just FYI. People are gonna listen to you and Sans talk at the same time. Okay, so I honestly didn't even pay attention to what you just said about Legends Arceus.
You know, she was talking about being able to explore like Sinnoh in the past. That's just crazy. You know, Game Freak has never done anything like that. And
I bet she did. I bet she did talk about that.
I was talking about like the lore is gonna largely be like mysterious, you know. We're gonna have to
like we don't
solve
know what to expect.
Puzzle. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm still dying at Sans talking with you. Okay.
I gotta hear that. I didn't.
I'm hoping it came through in the recording. I'm leaving that in if it did, so people can hear. All right. Well, in that case, I'll go ahead and talk about what I'm most excited. So what I'm most excited about for in BDSP is say yes, it's Sans.
Sans.
What I'm most excited.
Right.
Jumping in through the fourth wall.
Oh my gosh.
Shit.
Gosh, I hope. I would love to see fourth wall breaks in BDSP. But what I'm looking forward to most with BDSP is honestly not necessarily even the game itself, more so just like being able to stream my first Pokemon game with my fans on YouTube, because I've never done that before. So this will be my first time like building a team and just experiencing a Pokemon journey with people. It's like I said, I had no friends growing up, so I hardly got to experience those with people. So this will be my first time, like I'll get to talk about my experiences with them. They're gonna be able to share it with me on the stream, and it's gonna be hella fun. I'm also excited to just like dissect the game and make judgments about it, because I'm so curious what the quality is. One of the most fun things about Sword and Shield with me was honestly the fact that it was so bad. It was so interesting to me to just like look at it and constantly be shocked and amazed and surprised at like, and make myself wonder, how did they actually release this and think it's okay? And that was actually really fun for me. So BDSP, I don't think it's going to be on that same level, obviously, but I'm curious to look at it and dissect where the quality was put and what could have happened behind the scenes on development to make some things be like super duper quality, and see where some things may have fallen short. And maybe nothing fell short. And that would be amazing if nothing fell short. If they fixed every issue that I've mentioned that I'm scared about, then that's amazing. I would love a great Pokemon game, even before Legends. You know, I already think Legends is going to be a great Pokemon game. So if BDSP is one too, then I'm all for it. I'm also, actually should mention this in my fears about BDSP. I'm scared they're not going to scale the Pokemon properly during the fights. So one of the things I'm most excited for, conversely, for BDSP, is to see if they scale the Pokemon correctly in the fights. Like, I don't want to see a 2-inch Gyarados, you know? I want to see a however long Gyarados is. What it's supposed to be, like 8 feet long?
Yeah, 8
like
or
that?
11 feet, something, yeah.
Giant.
It's supposed to be really big,
shrimp,
you know?
literally.
It's a giant shrimp.
Yeah.
It looks like a giant shrimp or it looks like a giant shrimp in Sword and Shield, but in like Colosseum and Revolution, it looked like a giant sea creature, you know, sea monster.
Oh,
You know, that's what I want to see. I want a giant sea monster.
He's 21 feet.
21?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, yeah, that's really long. Okay, and then for Pokemon Legends Arceus, one of the things I'm most excited for in that too is also to see the Pokemon scaling. But no, in all realness, it's just to see how much they actually evolved into this genre. So far, it looks very promising. I'm just so curious to see how it plays, how smooth it is. It looks really smooth, how satisfying it feels to play it, and just all the different things that they've brought in from adventure games that I love into Pokemon, which I also love separately, you know? Before I had to view them as different things, but Pokemon Legends lets me enjoy them both as one. I get to enjoy an adventure game, an immersive adventure game, but also enjoy a Pokemon game at the same time. And that's what's so enthralling about it to me. And it'll be an adventure with my Pokemon. And that's honestly probably the top of the top for me, is getting to enjoy an epic adventure where the stakes actually feel real, where the interactivity feels real, and it's going to be an actual intimate journey with my Pokemon. And that's how they describe it on the website too. It says this is like an intimate journey with humans and Pokemon, and I really love that wording, because that's what it looks like, and I'm excited to see exactly how much it feels like that too. But yeah, that's me.
Well said, my dude. Well said.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I really like that you brought up the scalability. I that totally slipped my mind. I agree. It would be great to see, you know, Pokemon proportioned correctly.
Yep.
And just brought to life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Imagine when we meet Arceus and he's just like giant.
Yeah.
He better be.
That
Hell
was
yeah.
so
I don't want him to be giant and then we hop into battle and he shrinks, you know? That's
Yeah,
what happened in
yeah.
Sword and
Yeah,
Shield.
Because of Chibi. Chibi Arceus, man.
It'd be fine if it was chibi, that's one thing. But like immersion breaking's another.
Right.
But yeah, like it's super exciting. Like we've never gotten anything like Pokemon Legends before, and I just hope we see more of it. You know, like you said, Cayla, I hope we see more of it. I want to see more of what they can do with this, because if this is their first showing, that means there's even better things to come on the horizon, because this first showing looks very solid already.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine they could do so much with Legends. You know, they could go through all these different other regions, and I just hope it does well.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sure it will. But on that note, let's go ahead and talk about where we can find you both on YouTube. VODX, why don't we start with you? Because a lot of people actually don't know you on my channel yet. So let's go ahead and get your info on here real quick.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Veteran X Gaming, and there's a hyphen between Veteran X, so it's like Veteran-X Gaming. I cover lots of RPGs, video games that are fun. Like, I'm a big behind nerd. I love all that good stuff, and yeah, come swing by sometime. I also create a website that keeps track of all the Pokemon that's been released so far for Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's alphadex.net. Check it out. Just go through, browse all the Pokemon that's been confirmed so far, give it a look, and hopefully it becomes a full resource once the game fully comes out. You know, I'm developing a website now, and yeah, that's me, VODX, baby.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to leave links to both VODX and Cayla down in the comments, or is it down in the description? Not in the comments. In the description of this video. So feel free to click from there to check out both of them. You people and your complicated YouTube names. Mine's just my name.
Yeah.
Although some people might find mine complicated because they'll put an H in it unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Even though
gonna
there's
say
no
they might
H.
misspell Johnny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or Tompkins. They might put
Yeah,
an
someone
H.
might leave out the
Thompkins. Johnny.
Yeah, the
Johnny Thompkins. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And then now, Cayla, why don't you let everyone know where we can find you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm on YouTube. It's Cayla's Capsule. Cayla spelled with a C, not a K. And then I'm also on Twitter. I post a whole bunch of different Pokemon content and Animal Crossing and just video games in general, where I'll like dive into lore and just talk about a whole bunch of things and like reactions and all stuff like that. I'm also going to be live streaming BDSP. So, you know, if you guys aren't watching Johnny and you're like, oh no, he's not playing right now, what do I do? You can go check if I'm playing, and then you can come watch on mine too. So
Awesome. I also want to point out, because I noticed you never mentioned this, but like Cayla also has an Instagram, and her Instagram is fire. So if you don't follow her on Twitter, at least follow her on Instagram and look at all her amazing outfits and all the cool things she does.
yeah, I literally like got all my hair cut off today for the most part. So
Oh, wow.
check that out on the gram.
Oh my goodness. I haven't even seen it yet, so I'm curious to see it. I'm also kind of scared. Is it a pixie cut?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
You
It's
have a
fun.
pixie cut? Oh my
I
goodness.
I know.
This is
It's
gonna be
exciting.
so different. Awesome. Well, yeah, so don't forget, everyone, links are in the description for both Veteran X Gaming and Cayla's Capsule. And right after you subscribe to me and leave a thumbs up on this video, go ahead and check them both out and subscribe to them and watch all their videos as well. So you get lots of Pokemon content, lots of monster catching genre content, everything. We supply it all. And until the next video, everyone, I hope you really enjoyed. Peace out.